Down in Tennessee, where freedom is alive, you hear shots ring from the woods. Take on 45. Life is good. Shoots more ammo than he probably should. His comments here in Nashville made me free. Life is good. He's always shooting down in the woods. He probably wouldn't do it if he could. His life is good. He wouldn't do it if he could. His life is good.
Yes, Hickok 45, your internet shooting companion, coming to you from the beautiful hills of Tennessee. Tennessee, the home of Alvin York, and some beautiful trees leaving out. Glad you're here to see this beautiful firearm, my number one, my Ruger number one in 338 Win Mag. Most of you probably have seen it, and isn't it a beauty? I just had to get it out. I bought it to shoot, not to look at or to just hang out in the safe. And so I am going to drag it out occasionally and exercise it a little bit. It's a kind of firearm you don't really need to shoot 100 times to enjoy it. You might not want to shoot it 100 times, right? But at one time. But wow, just a beauty, and nothing like a single shot. And beautiful day to take some shots with it, I'll tell you. Nice, nice, nice. I still like it. Bait and switch, right? That's not what you saw on the thumbnail, I guess, did you? You saw something that might look like a Schofield, a little bit more like this. So this is kind of traditional day, I guess. Yeah, Ruger number one's rather traditional. Yeah, it's traditional, even though Ruger's still cranking out guns and still making those some quantity, I'm not sure how many, but it is a single shot, even though it doesn't go back the exact design, at least into the 17 or 1800s, but it's based on some of those, and it's a pretty nice rifle. Yeah, really glad you're here. And I just thought I'd show the Schofield, since you've seen the Ruger number one, and you might like to know I've got a Schofield. Actually, you know I have a Schofield. This one is the 5-inch model, and it's it's not called the Wells Fargo model by Cimarron, but it is a 5-inch model, and that was I believe what the Wells Fargo company cut a lot of them down to 5 inches. They bought them from the military. The military used the Schofield, adopted it, you know the story about the ammo mix-ups and everything, and with 45 Colt, long Colt, and the 45 Schofield round, and out in the wild, the forts out in the west or wherever, get the wrong ammo and you can't use it in the Colt, which maybe everybody had at that fort or whatever the deal might have been. So no, you could use the Schofield ammo, of course, in the Colt, but you couldn't use the Colt ammo in the Schofield. So anyway, it was a little shorter round. So there we go. I thought it would be cool. I saw this at Bud's, and they got a 5-inch model. I have looked at these so many times with fondness in gun shops or at the NRA meeting, exhibits, or SHOT Show, or at various places. You'll see they're virtually all, of course, Italian made, the Cimarron, the Ubertis, the Taylor Company, or whatever. But you'll see them in shorter barrels, maybe even shorter than 5-inch, nickel plated, and then just different scenario, and they just always look so cool. It's one of those guns like the Python, I guess, or Anaconda. They're just so cool in any length. They really look good. And then, so if you have a long barrel, even if you don't like long barreled revolvers, they're just extra cool, Python or Anaconda. And these are kind of that way too, I think. but a short barreled one is kind of neat because almost most of them you see do have the 7.5 inch barrel. And yeah, I've never, I don't know if I've ever fired one that wasn't the long barrel. I don't think we've ever tried one, have we? Unless that I can recall right now. So I thought I'd order it up, and I have not fired this. Nope, it's another one of those days where I just blow myself up on camera because I'm firing a gun that's never been fired. Okay, in fact, I just picked it up at the gun shop, Clarksville Gun Archery, less than an hour ago, probably. Yeah, sure did. So background check is fresh. Less than an hour on this thing, and thought I'll just shoot it today. And yeah, it's 45 Colt. Again, I guess almost all the new ones. I don't know. Have y'all seen any of these in different chamberings? I'm thinking, I don't know that I've seen one that's in different chamber. They must chamber them different things. It's just me. I always want the 45 Colt, but maybe you Birdie or somebody makes one in 4440 or 44 Special or 45 Schofield. I don't think so. It's just more convenient in 45 Colt. Okay, more available, right? So let me shoot the thing. Let's see if it works. First shots on, and I'm gonna open it up, put some ammo in, and shoot it. Now these are a little more difficult or stranger. Let me remind myself here on the Schofield. Like I say, I haven't shot it. Load her up. Of course, it turns like like a Colt. Turns in the direction a Colt does, right? Yeah. So I'll go ahead and load 5, so I don't develop a bad habit. How's that? If I see bad guys around, I'll load 6. All right. I fired a Schofield, my first Schofield. In fact, my very first cowboy action match in '97, I guess. I had an old Colt. So, put the live one there. You see what I'm doing. Close her up. Yep. Okay. It's locked up. I don't know. Let's see here. We may or may not shoot this thing. That's the thing that's bad about Schofield. Get those rounds, the rims behind the star, the extractor. Gee, irritates me. I may or may not shoot this thing. Let's see. Get it out there. Yeah, I'm fiddling with it here. Schofields are the worst about this. They are the worst. All right, got that one out. And this is one reason the early Colt 45 cartridges had a really small rim on them, really small. And that was one reason it was difficult to chamber them, and thing with a star extractor or anything. And then they later increased the size of the rim a little bit. But these things are a pain when this happens. Wouldn't want to be in a gunfight. I'm not sure what the best trick that is. I've not had that much trouble with mine. Oh. I really haven't. Oh, well, I'm thanking people. Let me working on this. Let me thank Alabama Holster for their support of the channel. Great little concealment holsters that I've been using for many, many years. Pocket holsters and belt holsters. They're mostly Kydex, about all Kydex, and purse holsters, and you name it. Really nice ones. I'll get that star out as far as it'll go, and then there we go. So we appreciate their assistance for sure. Check them out. AlabamaHolster.com, right there on the target. Okay. Now, I must have had one of those in there holding the extractor bag. I'm just going to go put 6 in. Okay, I'm going to mess with it. Keep it simple and see what we have here. See if we have an issue with it or not. Okay, I got 6 in it. Get my ears on before I even close it up. All right, close it up tight. Get latched in. And there. Pretty snug. Boom, bullseye. All right, more red. Boy, it's tight. There we go. That was 6, right? Okay. Yep. That was 6. All right. So that is that's a booger. It could be this S&B ammo has an even smaller rim or something. No, we're all learning together. S&B. Yeah. Let me try. I've got some Black Hills here. See if yeah, it doesn't take much at all with ammo. I know. Let's see, with some Federal, was it 10 millimeter, or was it some 44 mag ammo that with a nickel, something with a nickel brass. Everything worked fine, but there was something with a nickel brass or a nickel case. And I don't know if it was the extra layer of nickel or what it was, but I remember something we were shooting, it just wouldn't close up. You know, it just doesn't take much at all, so maybe we'll see if that's any of it. The brass may have thicker heads or something. Some of y'all might already be nodding and writing in the comments, yep, that's right, Hickok, I've tried that stuff, and that's exactly what it is or something, I don't know. All right, I'll go up and try this. This is, whatever, it's Black Hills ammo. It's got BHA, so I guess it's their own brass. I don't know if they make the brass or someone else does and they put their head stamp on it. That's 6. There's now. Okay. And it seemed to turn a little better. And none of them got caught under the extractor, so that might be it. It might be it. We're always learning together, aren't we? I'm going to go ahead and fire 6 more while it's fresh on my mind. How's that? Also appreciate, you know, maybe I need to soak it with some ballistol. Wouldn't hurt. Wouldn't hurt. Never does. Appreciate the ballistol and Talon grips. I don't have any on this gun, but I sure have them on a lot of them. Oh man. If you've seen that pocket pistol, the last pocket pistol, you know what I'm talking about. All those pocket pistols have the Talon grips. Oh yeah, I got something I want to tell you about that too. Y'all still there? You're still recording? Okay. Testing? Yeah, we're recording. All right, cowboy, I got to shoot you with this thing. Yeah. All right. I think I have another one. Let's put it on the SDI badge. Yeah, Sonoran Desert Institute. All right. Yeah, those seem to work better. Okay, yeah, didn't get caught under the extractor either. So, that tells me something. That tells me at least without a great deal of experimentation, just what you've been seeing right here, I want to keep that S&B brass separate. I don't want, 45 Colt. I don't want that to get into my reloading brass. Probably wouldn't be an issue, of course, with a Colt single action. In fact, we shot some the other day in a Colt single action video. Yeah, we're fine. So when you get with something like this, though, close tolerances, the star extractor, and that kind of thing, and that's what they ran into in the old days, So good, and I think it's one reason they didn't chamber the Winchester, like the 73s and some of those in 45 Colt. There were also, I don't know, issues between Colt and Winchester and all that, but part of it was, I think, the case, the 45 Colt case, didn't have enough rim on it to be reliable in terms of ejecting, feeding maybe, and all that. So just something I didn't know I was going to be talking about today, but that ammo caused it. So we all learned a little bit together there. I don't shoot my Schofield a lot. I'll have to try it in my Schofield too and see if it has the same issues. And I might try that again before we leave. I feel better now. It's worked okay with the Black Hills, and that's really the only two I brought over here today, I think. So we're probably fine, okay? Because I've not shot a lot of S&B, but their ammo seems great. All right, so good. Man, I didn't know if I was going to be able to shoot that dude. So what else do you want to know about? Oh yeah. What did I? Oh yeah, I mentioned the last pocket pistol video. Our series, the last whatever that I would ever sell. It's funny. I posted a picture. You probably saw it, many of you, on Instagram of the table when I had all the pocket pistols out, filming that, and you've probably already seen it. Okay, this week, and but I posted that picture, as many of you saw it, on Instagram, and I don't know, forgot what I wrote as the caption, something about, looks like the last pocket pistol I ever sell, or something like that. Well, I didn't pay attention to it after that day, and I tend to forget to go back and look at those, but I was going into Instagram about 3 days later or something, and just opened Instagram, and the first thing I saw was your whatever posting has been deemed unsuitable or was taken down, or what? Is that me? Yeah. Oh, okay. That was that picture and that caption. And what it is, bro, is they think I'm selling guns. We've run into that on YouTube with that video, that series of videos. We've done, I don't know what, 6 or 10 of them or something. And I've gotten where I have to take the word sell out just to get it approved, it seems like. Because I don't know if it's the algorithms, artificial intelligence, or whatever, or the real intelligence, or what it is. But they well, it's after manual review. Sometimes it gets demonetized or never monetized because of that. I guess that's it. And because I have taken the sell out of there and then it got monetized. Isn't it funny? I mean, isn't that kind of a common thing? I mean, how hard is that to understand? If I'm a car collector and I start talking about, well, the last car I'd ever sell would be my old Packard or my Model T4. Doesn't mean I'm trying to sell it to anybody, does it? I'm not. I don't sell guns online. It's just so funny. And I requested a review of that. Now, well, that probably won't make any difference, so they can get it the first time. But they did. I noticed it went back up. Anyway, if it hadn't, I was maybe going to repost that picture and just put a different caption on it. It's that word sell. It's like you're selling guns. So, yep, that reminded me of that. And A reminder again about the Tennessee Firearms Association banquet, in September, where that Wilson Combat will be on the auction block. And it looks like that site is fine. I saw some comments, a lot of people trashing Wilson Combat, of course. But I don't know, that's kind of a minor thing. They obviously know how to make sites generally, and they know that a good night site would be great, or the original sites are great and all that kind of thing. I don't know. That one, you can get those in different configurations is the thing. Like I said, you can get those T365s from Wilson Combat that have the plate cut out for the optic, and I think you can get night sights, and different things, that sort of. This one happened to have the optic, okay, or the fiber optic on the front. All right, I don't know how many of them, come like that, and that would actually be a less expensive. That was not the most expensive version of that firearm, because it's not cut for the optic, and it has just a fiber optic front sight instead of a night sight. So, and I've seen that. It was a 22 I had from somebody, Ruger or someone, in the front. Well, the front sight where the fiber optic was didn't want to stay in, and I don't remember if it was Ruger for sure, but I'm just talking out of my head here. But I mean, that's not a big deal really in terms of things that can go wrong with a firearm. So that seems to be in there tight now, and you could obviously get another one. There are different colors. They're designed for that. To put it in green if you want, pop the other one out, put it in orange, and all that. And I think, as I understand, that's what you're supposed to do. Just heat them a little bit, on one end or whatever, and they'll stay better. I don't know. So that's what I did. John happened to have a cigar lighter with him. I didn't, and heated it up and seemed to take care of that. But people are always anxious to jump on anything, but especially gun companies that make expensive guns, and it's understandable. Really. I mean, I'm not really criticizing that. When something doesn't work that is supposed to work and is expensive, then it's especially bothersome, really, to a lot of folks, and it gives you a reason to jump on. But anyway, that was that. Anything else you wanted to know? I don't know. Oh, I don't know if I ever did remind you. I did a little posting finally on Facebook, and I wanted to remind you all on Sundays that I did an interview with Ron Spomer. Some of you have seen it. I just sort of did it and forgot about it. But in case you're interested, I posted it on Facebook, and I'll link to it on this video. Okay, if I remember. It's just about an hour long, I think, pretty long. Maybe it's 45 minutes. I don't know, but he's a good guy. He's a hunter, and that's his specialty. And Ron Spomer Outdoors, and a great fellow. I've watched his videos before they wanted to interview me. I don't know, landed on something where he's comparing 308 versus 30-06 or something, or the 6.5 Creedmoor, just something where I was kind of researching some cartridges or whatever. And he really is a ballistics guy and hunts all over the planet, and can talk. And he talks about that stuff on a level that even I can understand. I've always liked him, and one reason I agreed to be on his podcast interview. But anyway, I'll link to that. Okay, in case some of you don't get enough of me. Let's shoot another. This is, what am I shooting? Winchester, I think? Yeah. 225, the Expedition, big game, Winchester, 338 Win Mag, 225 grain, Accubon, okay? So you know what's going through this thing, these big rounds. All right. Almost busted my knuckle there. I forget, but when I shoot this, I gotta make sure I don't have my hand limp or there's any slack at all. And I have to make sure my ears are in, right? 338 Win Mag. If you haven't seen it yet, that's what it is. And I don't want to destroy everything. I know what I won't destroy: a bowling pin. Yeah, man. I bet it'll roll a bowling pin without any trouble. Let's try another one here. Yeah. Woo! You want to accidentally hit the cowboy. That would not be healthy, would it? Most of you have seen this. That's a beauty, isn't it? Get up here where you can see it again. Got the main video on it, and I brought it out one Sunday. I believe shortly after I bought it, perhaps. Yeah, Ruger number 1. I had never owned one. Talked about it in that video. And had a little bit of a mental block against it for some reason, but well, I explained all that in the videos. But they're just beautiful, and this one's a beautiful, beautiful piece of wood. Yeah, it really is. And it's a powerful cartridge, a 338 Win Mag, but it doesn't just knock you over either. You know, it's not really like I don't know, 458 Win Mag or some of the really 416s and some other things I've not even fired. I don't think it's as bad as any of those. Or I heard somebody saying they thought it was worse than a 375 H&H. That the 375 H&H was more of a push, and this was a sharper kick. And I don't know. I've shot 375 H&H. I don't know. And I always said that about the 375 versus the 458, because I had both at the same time. And why, you might ask, since I don't even hunt? Because I'm sick. And I thought I said the same thing about the 458. It to me, it was almost easier on you because it was a big, heavy push, and the 375 was quicker. So I don't know. I understand that concept because there's a lot of validity in that. But I'd have to shoot. I'd have to have one of these and 375, and shoot these back to back to kind of get an opinion on that one way or the other. I've shot both, but not side by side. Sometimes you get surprised too, don't you? Unless you really compare it. If you've been away from it for a while, or you might be that way about a firearm. I know I've been surprised before about a gun I just thought I did not like. I'd tried it years ago, and I didn't particularly like it. And I don't know, maybe we get one from Bud's or somebody I know has one, we shoot it, and yeah, I like that better than I thought I did. Or it could work the other way, right? And we're constantly changing, as we, in my case, getting uglier and uglier. But we're constantly evolving, really. Whatever hobby you're doing, whatever you're involved in, your work, things that you thought 5 years ago, maybe you don't think that way now, or things you found distasteful, now you don't, or vice versa. Things you found difficult to do, months or years ago, or simple to you now, or things you really hated years ago, you might even like now. We're just changing, unless you're just living like Groundhog Day, every day the same. That's why experience is kind of a nebulous thing. That someone has teaching. That example was always used. Someone who has 20 years experience teaching should be pretty good at it, you'd think. But then again, maybe not. Maybe for 20 years they just did the same thing every year, and they didn't think creatively or get any better. Or translate that to any job or any activity. And that's not the. And I've always agreed with that, but it makes so much sense. However, some people also go the other way too far and think all change is good, and if something doesn't need to be changed, change it, because there's just something sacred about doing something different now, But I tried to hit somewhere in the middle. When I was teaching, I would teach a lot of the same material for a period of different years, maybe even 20 years. Same novel in some cases for 20 years, or this short stories, or grammar concept, whatever I was doing. I always felt like I was improving, doing some things differently, and then just getting better at other things, and just doing it a little bit more with a little bit more precision, maybe efficiency. you know, or making it a little more interesting than I did last year or something there. And then I always like change. I always like to do something different too, though. Get tired sometimes of doing the same thing, even if it's the smart thing to do. Sometimes I shake it up a little bit. Yeah, I would do that during the year. So I don't know if you've had this experience. Some of my best ideas came just off the cuff. You've probably had those days at work where you went in and you knew you had this meeting, this to do, and that to do, and you said, I don't really want to do that meeting, or I don't want to go there. Why don't we cancel those two meetings and just do this, that, or something? You know, and you've had some brilliant idea that worked out really well. Well, I would go in the morning and, excuse me, I had my plan, what I was going to do, and maybe have something run off, you know, or in the later years it was just on computer and different things, but I'd have a plan and things we're going to do and what I was going to do that day, and it might be like 30 minutes before the munchkins are going to roll in, and I would yeah, kind of like do something different maybe, or I know what we were planning to do, and I would just get a wild hair of something to do really different, maybe with that material, or just something totally different. You know, or maybe it's because we're going to maybe read or a particular short story or something, and get involved in that day. And I would, maybe it's a Friday. That'd be kind of common, you know. And I don't know, man. We got a lot done this week. Had a great week. I don't think I want to tie into that one today. They're not going to be as ready to go on that maybe, and it's just going to take more energy than mental energy that I feel like I'm going to be willing to devote today or something, and just change gears and do something different, some other story maybe, for a really high interest short stories. I know they always love this one, you know, or they like to read this one or act it out. Just do something different, you know. But anyway, I don't know if you've had that experience. Some of the best ideas I've had and that worked the best were things that I didn't really even plan. Now you got to plan, but sometimes those last minute, you know, just your gut tells you, you know, just instinct. I think I want to do something different, and it often works out, doesn't it? So, like trying a different ammo in this gun. Let's shoot this thing. Let's try it again. All right. You know, I think I've got some jacketed ammo here. Oh yeah, okay. Let's try a third thing here. Yeah, okay. This is a little federal. Let's see. It's nice being able to shoot all brands of ammo, I'll tell you. I mean, we're good either way, you know, because we don't really review ammo, and so we're good either way. And there's no big, deep, dark secrets about whenever a sponsor changes. Just, you know, we're not cheap. We don't have room for a lot of sponsors any more than what we have, and we're not cheap. And you know, sometimes we just don't reach agreement. You know, after a term of time, after a time period, a term, you know, a contract or whatever ends up, and it's just the way it is. And we don't get into all that. But okay, all right, let's try this. Okay, this brass feels all right too. Let's shoot Alabama holster. Yeah. Let's shoot them again. Let's shoot SDI again. Let's shoot the cowboy again. All right. So it's that S&B brass. I might try it again, actually. Okay. So, let me, before I get too long here, do I have any advice for youngsters? Oh man, I ought to. You would think I would. I don't know. You know, first, Tennessee's catching a little bit over the red flag laws. Our governor, he is normally a pretty good Second Amendment. He's not the best. he's sort of a gun guy, but then again, he's not. And I know the folks that work politically within the Tennessee Firearms Association, are not always delighted with some of the things that come through our state legislature and even through the governor. And but I don't know. He's I think trying to please everybody, and you may have seen some of this in the news, and thinks that there can be a plan that still has due process. And of course, that's the big one, taking somebody's firearms without due process, where it can only be done through due process and this, and check all the boxes and still get that done. And I don't see how that's hammered out. The thing is that I always come back to, and a lot of us do, I think, is if somebody is deemed too dangerous, to possess firearms, it's been determined he's just dangerous to himself and other people and should not have firearms. I don't know if he should be walking around, because because okay, spam call. If you can't be trusted, if you just have been determined that you're not safe to have firearms, to be around firearms, to yourself and other people, you might need to be under constant watch and locked up or something. Yeah, I don't know. It's a really tough question. It really is. And it's shootings just pop up, whether Atlanta, just wherever. It seems like every week somebody's and people. It's people, of course. We've talked about this, all of us do, and I don't dwell on it. You get weary of it. In a free society, things are going to happen unless you live in a police state. If you want to live in a police state and not have firearms, or think you don't have firearms, good luck with that. As I've said many times, I'd rather take the risk. And if I'm in the wrong place at the wrong time and can't react, don't react fast enough, and that's the end of me. Because someone had a gun, so be it. I'd rather that be a potential, I can't talk today. I'd rather that be a possibility than live in a police state. Okay, so, but anyway, you got all that going on, and and it kind of ties into what I was going to say about young people that. Man, it's tough, and I don't want to come down on young people. You've had a crazy life, really, haven't you? So, excuse me, swallowed the bug. With living with social media basically most of your life, and then the pandemic and everything, it's just a crazy time, and it just still bothers me that there are so many people, though, that look to the government, to be taken care of. And I hope that you are not that way. And if you have children, if you're older, that you're trying to just indoctrinate your kids to do for themselves and not to look to Big Daddy government for anything. They prove they're not very trustworthy, right? And I just, it's sad when you think about the founding fathers, and boy, talk about turning over in their graves. This country is founded on liberty and individual liberty and independence, and make your own way if possible at all. And if not, society will generally take care of you to some extent through charities and churches and different things, and even the government. But all of that has just really gotten out of hand, and so many millions and millions of people just don't have a sense of making it on their own, and and have been spoiled, yeah, by government, really, been spoiled. So I hope that you study the Constitution and history when you're in school, and if you're not doing it in class, do it outside of class, and just learn more about the Constitution, read it, and understand how this country is supposed to operate, really, and like it did pretty much in the good old days, at least more so. So, what do I shoot now? Oh, do I want to shoot this thing again? Let's shoot it again. All right. This big bruiser. Okay. Put one of these torpedoes in it and create havoc out here. Let's hit that gong again. I know it's hard on it, but I just want to do it. All right. Popped in. Okay. You caught I think I've revealed that before. My ringer is a cat meow. I thought that when I got this phone, I don't know how long it's been now, 6 months or so. It's the Google phone, the large one, Pixel 7 or something. And I was going through the ringtones. I thought I'd get something different maybe. And so, oh, there's a cat meow. So I was partially to bug my cats, just so they would be bothered if they heard it. And I just left it. Yeah, I don't care. And I don't care what people think of me just because I have a cat ringtone. It's funny though. It was shortly after I did that. I said that I had the phone in my shirt pocket like I do often, like right here. And I lay down. Whenever I lay down on the couch, I'll sometimes just, I don't know, in the middle of the day, I'll lay down there and just think I'm going to take a nap for like 5 minutes, but I end up usually not going to sleep. But I'll just lay down. I just feels good on my back. Just lie down there, and in the den. And if Slam Fire's around, sometimes he'll come up here and prop himself up. And he did that today, in fact. And he'll just lie down on my chest, just looking at me. There he is, his big face, like right here. He's so funny. You've seen him in videos. You know how cute he is. So he'll just spread out. He'll just sit there and look at me, lie there, and then go to sleep. Sometimes, whether I do or not. Well, early on I had my phone in my pocket, and you know what's coming. And it had, of course, the ringer up all the way. And I'm kind of trying to doze for a minute, and he's dozed. His face is like right there, right on my pocket almost. And that thing rings, and the cats are meow right in his face. He went crazy. He didn't go really crazy, but he, what's that? He has a pretty good sense about electronics and human things. You think that he should get excited about a toy mouse or not fooled too easily. Yeah. But he knew if there was a cat that close, I guess, a cat that close to him, he would have smelled it, he would have known that. So that's just another one of these human things, like the TV or something, all these weird sounds that come out of it, I guess. So, well, I might just shoot this thing again, this pistol. Y'all like those? I know some people wonder why they're not more popular. And I've seen several people comment about why they did away with the top rig. They're so cool, much cooler than the old single action, the standard and all that kind of thing. And most of you know that they deemed that they weren't as strong. The frame is not as strong when it breaks like that. When you got a solid frame all the way around, it's way stronger, and it's not going to stretch and mess up on you with lots of firing. Now these are fine, 45 Colt, and that might be part of the reason Smith & Wesson chambered them in less powerful cartridges, like the 44s, the Model 3 was for a while. And then when the Schofield came along, it was 45, but it was a shorter 45, kind of a 45 special, kind of thing. And maybe they knew it didn't have the strength because, I don't know, around about that time, those early 45 Colt cartridges in the early 1870s were, what was it, 40 grains, 35 or 40 grains of black powder. That's all there was, black powder at that time. And man, they were stout. They were stout. In fact, they lessened the powder charge on those because troops were just not being able to shoot them well. There's a tough training issue, just like I guess in today's world. If today's military, if you're training people to shoot a 30-06, it'd be harder than the M16 or M4. And they reduced that load, and so I loaded up some just for kicks, no pun intended, years ago when I was loading a lot of black powder 45 Colt cartridges for SAS, cowboy action shooting. I thought I'm gonna load up some. I'm not even gonna have a wad. I'm gonna load as much as I can get in that case. It was almost 40 grains. I went out, fired those things through one of my Colt single actions, a 3rd generation Colt. I mean to tell you, it was like shooting a 44 Magnum. Yeah, man, that thing whipped, really. And don't think of those old West cartridges as being like weak. I mean, that thing, it was designed to take down a horse, 45 Colt cartridge, to be able to do that. Yeah, I think it would do that. So, let's shoot this thing again. So anyway, it's stronger, And yeah, if you shot a lot of those in one of these, then you would probably begin to see some issues maybe with the frame stretching, if it break. And I don't know how long that would take. Seems like it would take a lot. I don't know. That's what they say about the alloy frame revolvers of today, like my little favorite 642s and those sorts of things. You fire them thousands and thousands of times with plus P ammo or something that you could get some stretching and some issues with the frame maybe and all that. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I've not shot one enough for that to be an issue. All right, and don't sort of plan to. And I'd almost have to see it to believe it. All right, who wants to be shot here? How about you? How about you? Yeah, so that's handy. Yeah, I don't know. Do I like a short barrel or the long barrel in one of those? They're just really interesting firearms, no doubt about it. Looks like all the brass is working fine. I'll tell you what, let's just go ahead and try this again. Make sure I wasn't dreaming that. And I probably had the gun held down here where you couldn't see all the issues I was having. I don't know. It's not because I was making it up. I just was trying to get it cleared. Okay, I got 6 in. So, now it's normally against my policy or my way I operate. I shoot 5 at the range and 5 in matches or whatever. Just like to be consistent. Okay, but I'll put 6 in here because of the issues. All right, Talon grips. Ballistol. Gun fun targets right in the middle down there. Yeah. Have we shot buds? No. Let's shoot silencer central. Do we have any more? All right. Well, at least they've turned better. I don't know. Maybe it came out. Part of it is keeping that upside down, And that might have been partly me. Because if you bring it up like this, the gravity is not your friend. And if one's going to fall, I should probably remember that with the Schofield that to always do that, so they're more likely to fall out with that. I don't know. Well, anyway, one of those first world problems. It's hard to deal with, right? A good old Schofield. Not bad. Maybe we'll do a video with it, of course, or two, and I'll know more about it after that. But at least I've gotten started with it today. Anything else? Nah, nothing else you're interested in hearing about. So we're at May the 7th and cranking right along. So I hope everything's going well for you all and you're having a good spring, doing whatever you're doing this spring. If you're in school, I'm sure you're looking forward to getting out. gosh, at least you're in classes if you're in school, whatever level, middle school, high school, college, I guess. Seemed like it doesn't take much to go back to Zoom, right? But in some of your classes in colleges, I guess a lot of them are just over Zoom or online, maybe. But it's just think about how much better off we are than a year or two ago, whatever. Wow, everybody's hiding out at home or hiding behind a mask or whatever. Just things have gotten better. So much better. I feel some guilt because my life didn't change that much, and I just kind of went on about my business, and it's still, boy, you really shouldn't talk about this. It's just not wise, I guess. But it's been over 4 years since I've had even a cold. I haven't had anything. So knock on wood. Where's some more wood? Knock on all the wood I can knock on. Shouldn't even say that. And it's so weird because historically I don't get the flu and that kind of thing, but I have a cold. Maybe one a year, and then I'll go a year or two and not. But usually probably averages every other year, something like that, or every year and a half I have a cold. And that's what's weird about all this, mainly because the only reason I can even track it is half the time I can't even remember. I have a cold last year. Well, because of the pandemic, and we were all watching it since the winter of 2020, and in December 2019 even, I was getting ready for a SHOT Show and everything, so I'm always aware of it in the winter, because if I have a cold, I definitely don't usually have two if I have a cold, and I'm always thinking when it gets into the winter, if I'm going to SHOT Shows, oh man, if I'm going to have a cold this year, I hope I have it before SHOT Show. I don't want to have it a week or two out there and everything, and because one year I did out there, felt bad for 2 or 3 days, and not horrible, but just no fun having a cold. And so I know I didn't have one, in 2019, that fall or winter. And then, of course, SHOT Show and the pandemic hit, and of course we're all watching any little thing about ourselves. And so it was, and I didn't have one in the summer of 2019. So I guess I might have had one back in the winter of 2018, 2019. Yeah, I just don't remember back that winter. Okay, but anyway, I don't know what it is. If it's the air out here, or the cats are providing me some immunity. It's all waiting to hit me at one time. But I tell you, that's the thing. I shouldn't test fate. And I'm not. But you got to be aware when things are good. When things are going well, because it's so easy to see the negative, right? We always see that. That's the first thing we want to think about, the negative side of anything, if we're not careful, even if we're not a negative person. But you got to just be aware when things are going well. Really. Hey, you go through a whole winter, don't have a sniffle, think about it and savor that. Yeah, it's cool. Normally I have a cold here, and half of December I'm sick or something, or whatever your situation is, or if you get the flu a lot or whatever it is, and you don't have it for a while. You're saying, I've talked about that before, your work or whatever you're doing, if it's going well, or you got a great job. I know when I was teaching, some years I'd have a crazy schedule, hard to keep up with, and lots of preparations or something. I was coaching and doing 40 different things, and then there was a period of time I remember where they finally created more planning periods, and we had more time, and I wasn't coaching as much, and I'd been teaching those courses for several years, and it was like, wow, it was just more fun. I had time to catch my wits, and you're always busier than you can, things. It's always harder to handle things, than you think you can, but always busy. But just I remember thinking during that period of time, occasionally, how, boy, okay, this is great. If I could make my own schedule, it wouldn't be much different than this. This is good. I need to be aware of this and savor it, enjoy it, because guess what? Here's a news flash for you. everything changes, right? And so anyway, we need to appreciate it when things are going pretty well. Yeah, and when you're healthy. Man, if you're healthy, things are going well. There's not a lot to complain about, right, if you're healthy, because a lot of people are not. They're not. So I guess I'll let you go and quit rattling on, and I might just get one of my shoulder holsters out and make this my carry gun for a while. How about that? Yeah, man, 45 Colt. Not a bad choice, huh? I'll see y'all next week. I hope. Life is good.